Hello, 5th and 6th grade. This is your history video for Monday. Wow, hard to believe. Last Monday in May that we have. And we have pages 312 and 313. You have 225 to 229 with the machines and just answering quick questions on those, really actually pretty short. We'll go ahead and start reading in 312, talking about the castle. Castles gradually began to replace large log houses as homes of medieval lords. Castles had become common in Europe by the 11th century. The castle in the Middle Ages was both a home and a military fortress. Castles were surrounded by strong walls. Some castles in the late Middle Ages had stone walls over 30 feet thick. Inside the walls were towers, a courtyard, living areas, kitchens, and a great hall where meetings and banquets were held. Some castles had a strong central tower called the keep, where the lord and his family lived. It was the safest place in the castle. Often the keep stood on a hill. Inside the keep were several rooms. This included the family's bedrooms and sitting rooms and a few other rooms, such as offices or a chapel. Most servants slept in the rooms where they worked, rather than having private bathrooms. Castles were cold and dark inside. Lords tried to brighten them by painting the walls and ceilings with bright colors and placing burning torches in the rooms. They also put mats on the floors and hung woven tapestries on the walls to keep out the cold. Early castles were made of wood, but by the 12th century, most castles were made of thick stone. Builders dug a moat around the castle to keep attackers from reaching it easily. A drawbridge, which is your secret word, crossed the moat to the castle gate. During an attack, the guards raised the drawbridge to cover the gate, cutting off the entrance to the castle. If attackers got safely across the moat, they had to face the gatehouse. The gatehouse was a large stronghold in the castle wall. If the attackers entered the gatehouse, castle defenders could lower a large screen to trap them inside. Invaders attacked castles in different ways. Sometimes they used a battering ram, a long log tipped with iron. This weapon could knock down the gate or part of the castle wall. Other soldiers rolled tall siege towers against the wall and then climbed into the castle. Sometimes the attacking armies threw rocks and burning rags over the wall. The soldiers also dug tunnels under the castle and started fires there, hoping to burn away the castle's foundation to make the structure collapse. Medieval banquets. During the Middle Ages, wealthy people liked to host large banquets. Lords would invite many guests, and they would eat at long tables in the great hall of the castle. Pages waited on tables. Squires were often responsible for carving the meat. Court jesters provided live entertainment such as music, juggling, and acrobatics for the lord and his guests. Many different foods were served at these banquets. A meal might have included soup, head cheese, which is a sausage-like dish that is made from the meat of a pig's head, puddings, fish, pork, venison, pheasants, larks, and other birds. Dessert was usually a pie filled with fish or fowl. One medieval custom was to insert live birds into a pie and release them in front of the guests when dessert was served. Many people have heard the nursery rhyme about this custom. Sing a song for sixpence, a pocket full of rye, 24 blackbirds baked in a pie. When the pie was opened, the birds began to sing, "Wasn't that a dainty dish to set before the king?" Banquet guests used large, flat pieces of bread as plates. Forks were not used until the 1600s, so people used their fingers to eat most foods. But they still had table manners. For example, it was considered rude to gnaw on the bone or to dip food into the common salt bowl. All right, and so the next page is basically shows you a picture of the castle and the different areas where they are. It says great halls were long and narrow with high ceilings. They were central meeting spots where people ate and socialized, and sometimes servants even slept there. Great halls had large fireplaces in early days, and they were used both to heat and to cook. Later, separate kitchens were built to improve the comfort and safety of guests. You had the Harlech Castle there at the top right that still exists. From 1282 to 1289 had been built. That's 900 years old. And so, well, almost 900 years old anyway. But just an incredible 33 years, something like that. All right, and so you have that, and there are plenty of those in Europe, and especially in England, and several of the countries actually have them. Many gatehouses had portcullises, metal grates that could be raised or lowered to control access to an entrance, and holes for shooting through or dropping objects on attackers. At first, towers in Europe were built as squares, but crusaders returning from the Holy Land introduced round designs. Although round towers were harder to build, weapons like cannonballs could not penetrate them as easily because they would have a tendency more to glance off of the side as opposed to being able to hit straight into it, where a flat wall you would be able to do that. All right, well, that's it. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye.